gentlemen, it's what the African said, so please put your hands together for the amazing Daliso Chaponda!
What the African said. There are loads of you here. This is amazing. You gotta understand, like, this is the first ever comedy special I've ever done. Ever. I'm very excited. And I've been a comedian a long time. And like 1 year ago, I was doing a comedy show in a pub to like 22 people. So this is much better. Now, of course, the success and the reason so many of you are here is because I did Britain's Got Talent. Yes, it was crazy. It was an amazing experience. Now, I get my audience from all sorts of places. So people who didn't watch me on Britain's Got Talent, clap. Okay, just a few of you. All you need to know is I did Britain's Got Talent. I ended up coming third. Yeah. I am very happy with third. Because the way I look at it, coming third, if it was the Olympic 100 meters, is like being the first white guy. It was a marvelous experience. Things happened which were beautiful. Like my parents flew over from Malawi and they were sitting in the audience. It was amazing. They were sitting in the audience looking at me, but they were giving me very African advice. My dad came to me and said, hey, don't eat any food backstage. The other contestants will try to poison you. And since then, people have been very lovely. People come nicely, ask me to do selfies. People ask to take pictures. It's beautiful. The only thing is that sometimes people come a little bit aggressive. Like somebody came to me recently on a train. He said, hey, I saw you on telly, didn't I? And he was with a mate of his, and his mate was like, yeah, we saw him on telly. I was like, dude, I voted for you 5 times! You should have won! I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I tried my best, okay? They're like, dude, I voted for you, he was funny, huh? He should have won! And his mate was like, no, he was shit. And then I stood there awkwardly as they began to have a debate about whether I was funny or I was like, no, man, he was really funny, especially the first round. It was great, man, when he was talking about the fish and chips. No, it was boring. I don't really like jokes. No, he was really funny. No, he was shit. No, he was funny. And I realized I'm the new Brexit. And I do not begrudge the person who won. Actually, the person who won was absolutely amazing. His name was Tokyo Myers. He's a musician, and he did something astonishing. Do any of you know how much money you win if you win Britain's Got Talent? Anybody? Yes, how much? £250,000. It's a lot of money. He took that prize money and he gave it all to charity to help underprivileged children. Yeah. Most of you are clapping. 1 or 2 of you are like me, like, he what? And I'll tell you the crazy thing, all of it. All of it. Oh, not 10%. You could give 10% and still get into heaven, come on. I can tell you the truth, if I had won, right? If I had won, look, I'll admit to you, I would not have. I'm not a monster. I would have given some of the money to help underprivileged women, but that would have been on a 1-by-1 personal arrangement basis. But it's hard to think of the notion of giving away money if you didn't grow up with a lot of money. Clap your hands if you didn't grow up wealthy. Clap your hands if you struggled. Okay. Okay, clap your hands if you're rich. Just like one or two. Most of you just don't know. Clap your hands if you don't know. If you don't know, most of you don't know. I'll tell you, I can help you figure it out. Little questions you ask yourself, like things like, did you ever share bath water? Clap your hands. Yes, you were broke. That is poverty behavior. I can tell you Prince Harry was never like, oh, I kept it warm for you. Speaking of which, did you all watch the royal wedding? Clap your hands, did you watch the royal wedding a few weeks ago? I was there. I gave a speech about love. It was... It was crazy. That black American preacher, he gave it his all, man. He was dropping some soul. He was talking about, what is love? Love can change the world. And they did not know how to deal with it. There were panicking posh people all across the church. And he's just giving it to them, and they're just like, It was my favorite moment of the whole day. I was loving it. But what was funny was I heard people complaining the next day, and they were like, oh, he went on too long. He went on for 15 minutes. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's a black American preacher. 15 minutes, you got off lightly. That's just saying hello. And also, I wish he had done a little call response. I wish he had been like, can I get an amen? Just to see them go like, amen. Can I get an hallelujah? Hallelujah. Clap your hands if you've been to a black church. Clap your hands. Which country have you been to a black church? Here, you've been to one. It's dramatic, isn't it? It's very dramatic. Like first time I went to like a white church, I was slightly underwhelmed. It was just people kneeling and praying. There was a black church. We got some people jumping up and down. We got some people singing. We got people clapping. But in African churches, we've got miracles going down. Miracles going down. You have to be careful. Someone could throw crutches in your face. I was once next to a woman who started speaking in tongues. I did not expect it. I was sad. She was next to me. She got up suddenly and went, I didn't know what she was saying. Then I moved to the UK. Now I know it was Welsh. But yeah, it's hard to give away. Hard to give up money. Hard to give up money if you grew up struggling. I remember Christmas time, I never got the gifts I wanted. I remember I once came to my dad and said, Dad, why does Santa Claus go to the neighbors? Gives them the big remote control car. And he comes here and gives me this little metal one. My dad didn't want to ruin the magic, so he just told me, son, you have to understand, Santa Claus is a huge racist. It made a lot of sense. No, but as I was saying, it's weird when you grow up poor. I remember my favorite thing to do is around the house, there were catalogs that my dad used to use for business. And at the back of the catalog, there were pictures of the toys you could order. And I used to love to sit there with a felt tip pen. And I would circle the toys that I wanted. You did it too, didn't you? You'd circle the toys and you'd say to yourself, one day when I'm rich. I mean, have you bought the toys you wanted when you were a kid? You don't. Because I had like a whole list. I was like, one day I'll buy this transformer. I'll buy this remote control car. One day when I'm rich. Now I'm older. I can afford the toys, but I don't want them. But I haven't changed all that much now. I look at women who are out of my league and I go, one day. But mostly the responses I've got since Britain's Got Talent have been positive, but of course they've not all been positive. I've got a bit of negative pushback, particularly because I am a foreigner. And you get people coming to you saying stuff like, it's not World's Got Talent. Why did you do an African reality show? Look, I would have, but they're shit. They are. Think about it. Great British Bake Off, fabulous show. Great Malawian Bake Off, not so much. We've got food shortages and starvation, so our show is just a load of chefs queuing. I hope they've got ingredients today. And then if they are ingredients, oh no, no electricity. And initially, I wanted to do Zimbabwe's Got Talent. But then I found out no matter how many people voted, Robert Mugabe always won. Yeah, that joke's a little safer to do this year. It is. But am I the only foreigner? Clap your hands, other foreigners in the room, clap. Yes, sir, where are you from, my man?
I'm from Southeast London.
You're from Southeast London. I said, are there any foreigners? And you're like, yeah, I'm from London. Were you just taking the piss, or are you... Where are you from before Southeast London?
Well, my parents are from Jamaica.
Your parents are from Jamaica, but you're not, so why did you clap? You thought I meant, are there any other black people? I can see the other black people. I meant, are there any other foreigners? They sat him near the front so that I would not feel alone. Okay, are there real foreigners? Clap! Yeah, so where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Ghana.
You're from Ghana. What's your name? Tuesday? Wednesday? Thursday? Ghanaians have like 7 names. What? Sunday! You see what I'm saying? At least they never forget. And this lady next to you, is that your visa? What's the sort? I'm looking for one just like her. Don't worry, I understand. I understand. Thank you for coming, Ghana. Thank you for coming. And then there were any other foreigners? Yes, where are you from? From Jamaica. Aha. See, real Jamaica. Excellent, excellent. Are you both Jamaican? No, Jamaica and Nigeria. Oh, interesting. Cool. He got very defensive. Don't worry. No, you got to understand. I know why he was defensive, because you got to understand that Africans have to live with a lot of stereotypes. It's part of the problem, is that people read what they read about Africa and they think it defines the whole nation. And so you get weird things, like I was going to do a gig in Kenya, and people said to me, oh, don't go to Kenya. There's Boko Haram there, they'll blow you up. I went there, nobody blew me up. It was a beautiful country, it was lovely. Then I was going to South Africa. People were like, oh, don't go to South Africa, it's violent. I went there, it wasn't violent, I was fine. I guess there was violence, none of it affected me. I was happy, came back. I was going to Nigeria, and someone said, don't go to Nigeria. They're crooks, they'll rob you. I went there, they were crooks, they robbed me. Some uncomfortable people are saying, oh, is he offended? No, don't worry. It's like, they know. It's like Nigerians are the Scousers of Africa. So the way you understand. It's a stereotype. We all just laugh at it. It's all really true. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming, all of you. But this is what I'm saying, is some people were upset because I'm African, because I'm Malawian. Now, do we know much about Malawi? Yeah, some of you do. You don't know much about Malawi? Okay, who doesn't know anything about Malawi? Okay, a few of you. Little country, tiny country, middle of Africa, very poor. #1 export, babies for Madonna. It's very difficult to base an economy on just Madonna. At least if we had Lady Gaga, Elton John, but it's just Madonna. Now, I've done a lot of jokes about the babies which she's adopted. She's adopted 4, and it leads some people to think I'm criticizing it. They'll say, oh, you don't think she should have adopted those babies? No! I think it's awesome, actually. Because not only did she adopt babies, she gave millions of pounds to Malawian orphanages. And yet, despite that, a lot of Malawians are a little bit ambivalent. Every time she tries to get a baby, she's had to do lots of paperwork, go through the court. And I'm like, what are you doing, Malawi? She could switch to Zimbabwe or Kenya. We need to make it as easy as possible for Madonna to adopt the babies. We need to start sending her catalogs. These are our cutest babies, Madonna. We need to develop an app. She can just scroll through all the babies. Whenever she likes one, swipe right. We can call it Kinder. No, but adoption is an amazing thing. It's legitimately an amazing thing. I don't understand why sometimes people don't tell their children that they were adopted. I have a friend who only found out when he was 14. Like it was something to be ashamed of. It's the opposite. It's something to be proud of. Because if you were adopted, you're one of the only children on the planet who knows 100% your parents actually wanted you. They filled out forms. There are no unplanned adoptions. I have never heard that hangover story. Can you imagine? Meet someone Sunday morning, he's got a headache, he's like, oh no. Me and the wife got so drunk last night. Oh. We ended up at an orphanage, we got 2. And I'm also aware that this could be my 15 minutes of fame. Because I did a reality show, people got very excited about me, but a lot of people do a reality show, a few years later, you don't know what's up with them. This could be it, but I'm not going down without a fight. Yeah, I got plans, man, I'm filming DVD also. I've decided I think I need to do all the other reality shows. What the hell? I'll do Love Island. Yeah. I could find love and citizenship. Or if I really want to be famous, I need to do Celebrity Big Brother. Who watches Celebrity Big Brother? Yeah, a few of you watch it? Oh, not so many anymore. It's gone downhill, hasn't it? It used to be great, now it's just repetitive. I've got ideas to reinvigorate it. Give it to me to run. Instead of doing Big Brother next year with celebrities, what if we did Big Brother, the religious fanatic edition? Wouldn't you tune in for that? Get a couple of Jehovah's Witnesses, a couple of Mormons. They can fight over the front door. But they're not actually fanatics. I think for the second season, we raise the game and we fill the house with members of ISIS. Come on, wouldn't you tune in for that? Fill it with members of ISIS and then starve the fuckers. And every morning, all you give them is bacon and booze. See who the first is to break. Well, that got a fascinating reaction, because most of you laughed, a few of you weren't sure. That joke is only offensive to members of ISIS. Unless you're a member of ISIS, should be fine. I kid, but of course, this was something which I discovered doing Britain's Got Talent. Is I'd been a comedian in little comedy clubs in the UK for years. Little comedy clubs, 50 people, 60 people coming. And in the comedy clubs of the UK, anything goes. You can talk about anything. So I went from this to doing primetime TV and discovered apparently I'm really controversial. I was like, really? I did that thing you should never do. I went online and I watched the YouTube videos, and then I looked down and I read the comments, and it's just people like insulting you and stuff like that and arguing. But most often, people were saying, oh my God, he's so non-PC. He's so controversial. Can you believe the things the African said? Oh my God, how does he get away with it? He's so non-PC, he's so controversial. And I was like, really? I never thought of myself that way. I'm not like, Roy Chubby Black or something. I'm not. I never saw myself as controversial. So I was like, these people, they don't know what controversial is. I ignored them. And then I did the semifinals of Britain's Got Talent, and then I started getting hate mail. And it was over one joke. Now, for those of you who didn't watch it, essentially, the situation was a lot like this. The crowd was like 90% white. And I was black. I mean, yeah, I'm still. And your black person on stage, white audience, 200 years ago, this would have been an auction. Now, I did this joke, which is it's not even a massively original observation. Every black person has considered what their life would have been like back in the days of slavery. I also thought it wasn't going to shock anyone because I thought we had all agreed in the UK that slavery was a bad idea. I thought you could find the most right-wing person in the country, some member of the National Front with a Union Jack tattooed to his face. And you could ask him, hey, how about we bring back slavery? And even he would go, look, I want them out of my country. I don't need to own one. I thought we had consensus. But out of nowhere, the pro-slavery people started sending me angry messages. I got messages like, well, if you don't like the slavery history, go back to Africa, monkey man. And I was like, this man does not grasp how slavery worked. Was not a go-back kind of situation. I had another person approach me on the street and said, oh, you should know there was slavery in Africa long before the Europeans came, so don't blame us. Huh? I checked on Wikipedia. And he was right. There were around 4,000 slaves in Africa before the Europeans came. They showed up and cranked it up to 60 million. They found a corner store turned into a Tesco. Superstore. But the angriest message I got shocked me. Because I did not know you could get this angry at a stranger. Like maybe somebody who has, cheated on you, you can not this much rage. But no, somebody sent me a message, which I'm going to read you because I was stunned that somebody could get this angry at a stranger, okay? So I got this on Facebook. Facebook personal message, and I didn't expect it because most of my Facebook at the time was people saying, good luck in the finals, good luck, we'll be rooting for you. Then suddenly I open, fuck you and your motherfucking father! Fuck you, asshole! No hello. He just went straight into the abuse. But I don't want to lose a potential fan. And I figure maybe he's been watching too much rap music. He thinks he got to talk to people by saying, yo, what's up, mofo, yo, yo. So I just said, thank you. You should put that to music. You'd make a good rapper. He didn't like that. He said, don't you ever fucking be here. We'll kill you, bitch ass mother. You're a small mother. I'll fuck you like a dumbass broke bitch. I said, that does not rhyme at all. People get so over-the-top abusive online, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one where this has happened. Like social media, be it Facebook, be it Twitter, people get so abusive. Clap your hand if you've had random strangers abuse you on social media. Clap your hands. Yes, ma'am, over there. Where did it happen? Like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, and was it politics or was it pictures? What was it? Yeah, people just insult you for no reason. And you, sir, where did you? On Twitter. On Twitter. And was it like you said a statement they didn't agree with, or?
Foolishly engaged in a conversation that went nuts.
He foolishly engaged in a conversation which went nuts. What was it about?
It was about Trump.
About Trump. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. I follow Trump on Twitter. Do you follow Trump on Twitter? Look, I'm a comedian. I got her. I got her. The jokes are like right there. But I don't like the fact that I'm his follower. I'm his follower. They need a new button on Twitter called monitoring. So one of his, are you a fan of him or are you?
I was heckling him.
You were heckling him, but you're wearing a Captain America shirt. I assumed you like Team America. I love America till the day I die. You're like, no.
Wait till like being blocked by Trump.
Oh, you were blocked by Trump. Excellent. Oh, you're clapping. You're like, yes, we blocked him. Well, yes, but people don't just say they disagree with you, or they don't even just swear at you. They go over the top. One person didn't like my joke and messaged me, I hope you die of cancer. And I was like, dude, you don't know me. At least wish me chicken pox. I don't respect them mainly because they don't put effort into it. It's just, them sitting in their home alone, in their underpants, and they just type, send. I would respect a troll back in like the 15th century, because that took effort. They'd see someone they don't like, be like, ooh, I'm gonna get him! They'd have to get a quill. Page boy, deliver this message. I have a message for you, my liege. Fuck you and your motherfucking father. And as much as I make fun of them, though, I understand why they got uncomfortable about my auction joke. I understand why people got uncomfortable. It's because I did a joke about race, which makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Some people may even be uncomfortable here. And I don't help matters because I enjoy toying with white guilt. It's amazing. Ghana, do you ever toy with guilt? Do you ever toy with her guilt? No, you gotta do it, man. Next time she asks you to do the dishes, just be like, not again! No, I'm a professional at toying with white guilt. Last year, I took a British white woman on a date to the Liverpool Slavery Museum. And I was just pointing at stuff saying, look what your people did, look. She did not expect that when she swiped right. She didn't. Has anyone here been to a slavery museum? Clap your hands if you've been to one. No, which one did you go to? Auschwitz. Auschwitz? Yeah, my comedy is not up to discussing that subject. There are only a few things where I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to move to something else. I hope you had a good visit. Yes, you? Where did you go? Did anyone else go to a slavery museum? Clap. Oh yeah, now you all feel proud. Okay, I'll give it a shot. No, but I'll tell you what's legitimately amazing. Is when you go to these memorials, be it Auschwitz, be it one of the gulags, if you go to any of these, it's usually a very solemn affair where you see the horrible history, right? And you have like a solemn moment and you see the worst that humans can do. And that's what it's meant to be like. It's meant to be a pensive, introspective visit. Liverpool Slavery Museum, it's a little bit different. I think it was set up by like a graduate student who had a lot of passion but didn't really think it through because there are a lot of displays which don't make sense. When you walk in, the first thing you see is a glass case with a KKK costume, posing like it's Armani. Now, I have done my history, and as far as I know, there was never a Scouser branch of the KKK. What did they call it? The hi. Instead of white hoods, they just had shell suits. And other things did not make sense. Other things did not make sense at all. On your way out, there was a gift shop. What am I meant to buy at the slavery gift shop? Have they got keychains that are actual chains or something? I told them this is not acceptable. You cannot make money from people suffering. But then they explained to me that no. The British government cut the funding of all galleries and museums by 30%. So to make ends meet, they've got to sell stuff. Now I understand that. And I'd rather there's a slavery museum than not. So I was like, I'll buy something. So I bought a tote bag. I bought a little Liverpool Slavery Museum tote bag. But then I noticed it was 100% cotton. They're rubbing it in. And in the museum, there were loads of displays which made sense. And then there was a point where I think they just run out of stuff to do. And they just had a wall with pictures of random famous black people who have nothing to do with slavery. Barack Obama's on that wall. Why? Jay-Z, the rapper Jay-Z, why is he on the wall? He got 99 problems, slavery's not one of them. I'm just drinking water. I don't drink alcohol. And I didn't realize until I moved to England that this is a serious personality flaw. The absolute horror when most English people find out, I go, you don't drink? What's wrong with you? I get these macho kind of homophobic guys saying, you don't drink? Are you gay? More like I sleep with women better than you. I'm sober. I can find what I'm looking for. And I've never envied it. I've rarely looked at somebody drunk and thought to myself, that's what's missing. If I could just piss myself. But I get into moral dilemmas because end of the night, I often end up chatting up British woman who's been drinking. I'm sober. I have to ask myself, is she too drunk? If I take her home with me, am I taking advantage? So to be a nice guy, I have to be like a policeman. Assess how drunk she is. My pickup lines are things like, can you walk in a straight line towards the bed? How many fingers am I holding up? Now blow on this. I like it. Even the people who at the first punchline were like, I do not approve of this joke, and then they're like, okay, you got it. But it is an interesting time right now because society as a whole, seems to be trying to be more politically correct. Now, a lot of comedians don't like this. They're like, oh, it's political correctness gone mad. I actually think it's a very good thing. I think it's a good thing because I've lived in societies where people could say whatever they wanted, no consequences. Lived in South Africa when you had people on the news saying racist stuff, nothing happened to them. Lived in places where, like Malawi's pretty misogynistic. We've had like members of parliament saying really sexist, misogynistic stuff. Nothing happens to them. It's better to be here where people care. The only problem, though, is that sometimes people are a little bit oversensitive. So you've got people getting in trouble for misspeaking just as much as somebody who's being actually racist. And I feel like we need to be able to differentiate. Right? I think we need a scale. A scale of 8. Or a color chart. Imagine we had it. Like, every time someone says something stupid on Twitter or something like that, we just look at the card. 1 out of 10 is a little kid who's overheard something, they don't know what they're saying, they repeat it. 10 out of 10, actual racist, member of the KKK, 10! I think we need to try it. Yeah, let's try it. So last year, there were 3 cases where a white celebrity said the N-word. Now, all 3 of them got in just as much trouble. People were yelling at them, people were screaming at them, they got in just as much trouble, but I don't think the cases are the same. So I'm going to go through them one by one, and you, as a crowd, can decide where they belong from 1 to 10. Now don't worry, there'll be jokes in the middle. I can see some people saying, oh, I didn't expect a quiz. And don't worry, it's not a trick, there's no right answer. It's like a survey. I'm just curious, because I do this in different cities, and different people have different ideas of what's acceptable. I'm just curious. So the first case was Katie Price. Jordan, are you all aware of who Jordan is? You all know Katie Price? Okay. Okay. We don't need to engage with that. But essentially, Katie Price is a page 3 model, I guess a glamour model, and she's white, and her child is mixed race. And she was on a morning show talking about her son being bullied, and she essentially said that, I don't like it, it's not right that people are messaging my son and calling him a nigger. And they got very angry. They said, oh, you can't say that word, Katie Price. How dare you say that word? You can't say that word, Katie Price, you're white. How dare you say that word? The next day, on social media, people were even angrier. They're like, oh my God, Katie Price, you've crossed the line for the last time. I used to be a fan, but no more, no more. I'm never going to masturbate looking at your tits again. People were angry, calling all kinds of horrible words. And it's interesting, because, look, I'm not saying I like the fact she said it, but at the same time, when I boiled it down, I was like, she was actually saying, don't call a little kid this. I mean, where do you put that from 1 to 10?
1.
1? Yell, no wrong answers. 1? Oh, 1. We all seem to agree, 1. I agree. I think people overreacted. I think people are starting to treat nigger like it's Voldemort. Like it's a magic word that should not be said. Or like it's Candyman. Like if you're in a house alone and you look at a mirror and you say, nigger, nigger, nigger. Suddenly, a white American policeman appears. Yeah, I'm terrified of those guys. After Britain's Got Talent, a lot of people said, move to America, it'll be great for your career. I was like, I think I'll stay in England. The second one was Bill Maher. Are you aware of Bill Maher? Bill Maher is an American comedian. Clap your hands if you know Bill Maher. Okay, not a lot of you. All you need to know, he's a white comedian. He's like a political comedian in America. Very clever, does political stuff. He's a sort of comedian who, if he was in the UK, he'd be on something like Have I Got News For You? But he's white. And he was arguing with someone and he improvised a joke. Essentially, the person was saying, you know, you're overprivileged. You've never worked a day in your life. We need to get you working in the fields. And he said, not me, I'm a house nigga. Ha! It was pretty quick-witted. He thought of it on the spot. He just came out, bam! He just forgot he was white. Forgot he was white. Instead of getting a laugh, the whole crowd just went, and I understand how that can happen. I forget I'm black all the time. Just the other day, I was in an airport, Manchester Airport, and I walked right past one of those random security checks, and I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot. I forgot I'm black, open the bag. But he was trying to be funny. Now, this happens a lot. Where do you put it? Where do you put it where a comedian is trying to be funny, and instead they offend people massively? And it doesn't just happen with race. I mean, like, it's sort of happening right now with Samantha Bee. Offended a lot of people. She called Melania Trump the C word. Right, but in a joke. It's happened with James Corden. Yes, James Corden, very funny guy, but last year he tried to do some jokes about Weinstein and the Me Too movement. He offended a lot of people. Where do you put it? Where a comedian's trying to be funny, but instead of getting laughs, they get some people very angry. Where do you put that from 1 to 10? No wrong answers. Where do you think? Where do you put? 1, 5. Oh, you're pretty, it's interesting. There's a lot of variety when it comes to that, because I think we all have a different idea of what we think is acceptable and what's not acceptable when it comes to jokes. And it makes it hard sometimes for comedians and producers. There was a joke I was not allowed to do on television. It was crazy. So let me just tell you the situation. So I wanted to go onto a television show. This wasn't Britain's Got Talent. There was another television show. I went out to do my audition, and there were 2 producers with little clipboards. And so I told them what I thought was my best joke at the time. And this was a joke based on truth about the day I was reading an article in the newspaper about the Paralympics, the disabled Olympics. I turned the page, and there was an article about paratroopers. I was like, is that the disabled army? I had a mental image now of a general coming out and saying, wheelchairs, roll out! Blind snipers, take aim! Amputees, march! Right, 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 right. Now, quite a few of you are laughing. And interestingly, the producers of that show were laughing their asses off. And one of them was like, oh my God, that's so funny. You can't do it. And I was like, why can't I do it? Don't make that joke more mean-spirited than it is. It's not like I'm bullying anyone. I've just noticed para is in both of these words, and I've taken it to an absurd conclusion. And then he said to me, look, I'm not offended, but other people might be. And this puzzles me. Like, if I offend any of you, by all means, talk to me about it, because I'll either apologize or explain myself, because that's not what I'm trying to do. If I hurt your feelings, I'll own it. But what I don't understand is when people get offended on somebody else's behalf. They're like outsourcing the offendedness to a call center somewhere. But they explain further. They say, look. We would have let you do the joke a few years ago, but in the current climate, we're careful ever since what happened with Frankie Boyle. Now, if you're not aware of this, Frankie Boyle is a Scottish comedian, very clever comedian. A few years ago, he did a joke, disability joke, got him in trouble. Now, I'm not defending the joke. I'm not analyzing the joke. Maybe it was as silly as mine. Maybe it was more mean-spirited. Maybe it was less mean-spirited. But what happened next is what I thought was odd. So he did this joke on television. For weeks afterwards, people were talking about it. On the radio, people were like, how dare this man make these jokes about disabilities? This is disgusting. In the newspaper, people were like, this is not what we want on our television screens. How dare this man make jokes about disabilities? This is disgusting. Everybody was saying, how dare he make it? He's crossed the line. This is disgusting. How dare he make these jokes about disabilities? For 3 weeks, people were talking about this. Then last year, the British government cut the disability benefit. No fucker talking. What's more worthy of a little bit of chit-chat? It's bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre. Because politicians are clever. They cut the disability benefit, but to make it better, for public relations purposes, they changed the name. It's no longer called the disability benefit. Too offensive. They changed the name to the personal independence payment. More politically correct, half as much money. I guarantee you disabled people would rather you double the money called the Hop, Skip, and Jump Fund. We don't care what you call it, give us the money. Because I think sometimes in the UK you could get obsessed with cosmetic issues and ignore the real issue. It's fascinating. In fact, a lot of your rules don't make sense. I remember being on the Mersey Rail, traveling to Crosby. I was tired. I put my feet up. I did not know you cannot put your feet up on the Mersey Rail. They fined me. Do any of you know the fine? If they catch you with your feet up on the Mersey Rail, it's 80 quid! 80 quid! Oh my God. I checked. Do you know what the fine is for public indecency? 50 quid. You are better off wanking on the train. And putting your feet up. But you kind of expect comedians to say the wrong thing, right? Comedians like Bill Maher, myself, you expect comedians to cross the line. That's what we're trying to do. And you kind of expect Katie Price to say the wrong thing. You don't expect it from a member of the government, right? Because you would think if anyone knows the power and the influence of their words, it would be a member of the government. Because the third person who dropped the N-word last year, I didn't see it coming. It was Anne-Marie Morris, a Tory MP. Now, did any of you read about this? Did you listen to this? I always think it's amazing everybody doesn't know about this. Because she dropped the N-word not in a little back room or something. She dropped it in a speech. Proudly. It was crazy. She was creative. It was a speech about Brexit. I know what you're thinking. How do we connect Brexit and the N-word? I don't know. She used an idiom. An idiom is a figure of speech like, it's raining cats and dogs, or a fly in the ointment. She used an idiom from like the 1920s. She said, Brexit without a plan is a real nigger in the woodpile. Yes! Yes! She just dropped it into the speech. Left it bouncing there. And you just had other of our colleagues looking around like, hey, don't look at me. I didn't tell her to say it, hey. And then later on, when people asked her, why did you say that? She said, oh, I didn't mean any offense. And I was like, what would you have said if she wanted to offend us? And she did that routine, which everyone does, where, you know, she did that insincere Twitter apology. Disappeared for like 2 months, and then she came back, right? And now she's in government, and I get nervous every time she gives a speech. Because I'm like, has she got other idioms we've not heard yet? Next week, she could be giving us speech and say, oh, Brexit's getting more and more complicated. It's a real gollywog in the glove compartment. Now, where do we put her from 1 to 10? Where do you put her from 1 to 10? No wrong answers, louder. 10, 9, 7. I agree. And the only reason I'm saying I feel like we need to differentiate between these people is that if you lump them all together, you get to the point that getting outraged starts losing its power. Because people are getting outraged at everything. And then when you have somebody showing up and being actually racist, like Donald Trump, like Donald Trump, calling all Mexicans rapists, and we point out, hey, I think this guy's being a little bit racist. They're like, oh, no, you're just being politically correct. I'm like, I don't think that's what was going on there. And the UK is an interesting place. I mean, it's very interesting for me because I grew up in Africa, but I grew up going to British schools, British post-colonial schools. I was fascinated. Like Ghana, did you get educated in Ghana? British schools, right? Oh, what kind of schools? Oh, government schools. Okay. So I don't know what your curriculum was, but our curriculum was very strange because we were in Africa, but we were learning English, French, and Latin. We were not learning any African languages. Latin's a dead language. There's no one walking around talking Latin. My school thought there was more chance I'm going to run into the ghost of Julius Caesar than another African. And in history, what did we learn? Oh, we learned about Henry VIII and William the Conqueror. We did not learn any African history, even though we were in Africa. And then I moved to the UK, and I heard all these people saying, why do all these immigrants come here? And I was like, well, you spent decades teaching me. Where did you think I was gonna go? Should have taught me Japanese or something. But as much as I talk about all these people who saying, oh, these immigrants coming here, I actually think it's not a lot of people. It's not a lot of people. I mean, they're always in the press. But it's a minority. Like, I was mentioned Trump. Do you think like a Trump figure could win in the UK? No, I don't think so. Because look, there are some nutters. There's definitely some nutters in the UK. But I've lived in 9 different countries, and by and large, the UK is the most accepting place I've ever lived. It is. Because most of you could not give a fuck. You are not bothered by race at all. You don't have time. In fact, I would go so far as to say, you hate each other more than foreigners. I live in Manchester, and I've been told, oh, you're black, it's fine, at least you're not from Liverpool. And the other thing which is lovely is, if you ever need proof that the UK has come a long way, look at the fact that the British National Party fell apart. They're no longer a party. And the reason they fell apart is brilliant. They fell apart because they forgot to file the paperwork to renew their status as a party. They were defeated by admin. And you know what must drive them crazy? I bet they all know if they had a few immigrants working in the office, they would have been fine. The good thing also in the UK is you can talk about everything. You can do jokes about the government. I can do Theresa May jokes, no problem. I can talk about the Queen, no problem. It's not the same everywhere. You think I'm ever going to North Korea and drop in some, this is like Fatty Kim, yo, no. In fact, I'm not even going to put that on the special. Just going to edit it just in case he watches it. No. Kim Jong-un jokes, no Putin jokes, nothing. I actually got in trouble in Malawi over a joke. And at the time, my dad was in the Malawi government. You'd think that gives me some protection. No, it did not. My dad was a minister, government minister. And it was interesting, because when I was younger, he was obsessed with my education. No matter what grades I got, they weren't good enough. If I got 5 A's, 2 B's, he'd say, no! You're not reaching your potential, huh? Apply yourself! If I got 7 A's, 1 B, no. Apply yourself. Not reaching your potential, he'd lock me up, make me study. And I understand, though. He just wanted to be proud of me. He was pushing me to be the best version of myself. And he's still in the government, right? He's still in the Malawi government. So I called him the other day and I said, Dad, there are food shortages all over Malawi and there's strikes in the street. Apply yourself. I don't think you're reaching your potential. I did this joke on a Monday. Tuesday morning, front page of all the Malawi papers was my face. And the headline, Minister's Son Ridicules Government. I got a call from the Malawi censorship board angry. They said, we have heard you are trying to bring down the government. We are coming to arrest you. Where do you live? And so I'm happier in the UK. I love being in the UK. It's a very accepting place. It's also like you're educated about other countries. Like, Africa is a real place. You say, why I say this? Because I visited America to do some gigs. Now, do we have any actual Americans in the room? Hello, Americans! We need an apology from you for Trump? No, I'm kidding. No. But what I'm saying is, what I'm about to say does not apply to you because you are clearly Americans who have traveled. But what I noticed is there are some Americans who have stayed in America and know nothing about any other country other than America. And when they found it out from Africa, they'll be like, oh, dog, you from Africa? Are there cars in Africa? I just went with it. I said, no, you're at the elephant. We put the bag in the trunk. We say, go, Dumbo. And people always think I'm talking about white Americans. No, the weirdest questions I got was from black Americans. Because to them, Africa's the motherland. It's their roots. One guy, Kyle, came to me and said, yo, dog, man. Can you help me, man? Can you help me? Can you give me an African name? I want to do that Malcolm X thing. I want to cross out my slave name, replace it, blam, with some Wakanda shit, man. Come on. I said, okay. Your name is now Mazunzo. Good name, my brother's name. He said, no, dog. I want a real African name. I want a name with a click. I said, okay, your name is like, no. He said, that's some cool shit. What's it mean? I said, it means you're an idiot. That's what it means. I'm not saying that they're not cultural differences. Of course they're cultural differences. Of course there are lots of things which are different about us. We've got, I don't know, like I was talking about the churches. Religion is very different in Africa. Right? It's very different, very serious. But I still make fun of it. You know, a lot of people say you shouldn't make fun of stuff. I still write jokes about it because I can see the funny. I remember when I was a kid, the first time I walked past a church, I said to my dad, Dad, why is there a cross on that house? My dad said, well, the person who started that religion died on a cross, so to remember him, we have the crucifix. The next day, I was walking past the synagogue, and I saw the Jewish star, and I was like, wow. The person who started that religion was killed by ninjas. And you know how we make holy water? Priest gets regular water, blesses it, it becomes holy. If I was a priest, I would bless everything. I'll go to McDonald's, order a burger. Holy cow. I'll get some tacos. Holy guacamole. Take a dump. Holy shit. And my family was so religious. My teenage years, I started acting up. A lot of your parents would have called a psychiatrist. My dad called an exorcist. I do not know if any of you have ever been exorcised. It's not fun. They strap you to the bed with ropes. They start pouring holy water down your mouth. I was like, My dad did not think this was enough. He believes you spare the rod, you spoil the child. There was a big wooden cross. He grabbed it, passed it to the priest, and said, beat him! Beat the devil out of him! The priest began to whack me. I was on the bed like, ah! So understandably, when the priest said, Satan! I figured I better play along. Now, I've watched The Exorcist movie. I can't turn my head around 360 degrees, but I gave it a good shot. I was like... And he said, Lucifer! I put on my best Satan voice. I was like, yeah? He said, Satan, leave this boy! I'm leaving. Then I got a great idea. I pointed at my dad and said, I'm going into him! It's a good night. It's a good night. No, I'm joking, but I'm looking for love, man. The world is built for couples. It's hard to be lonely. It is. Think about it. Everything is for the couples. We've got Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. Why don't we have one Lonely Fuckers Day? When you just buy your own box of chocolate. Because, you know, it used to be lovely being single. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, like, yeah. Now I'm getting older, all my friends are getting married. You feel like the last one chosen at PE. You're like, My married friends like to call me, complain about their married problem. They're like, oh, my wife's always nagging. I'm like, I have to nag myself. I get home, I'm like, what time do I call this? Why don't I even do the dishes? Should I? No, I've got a headache. No, but it's hard, man. It's hard being single. And I was in a relationship for a long time. I was in a relationship for 6.5 years. It was a good relationship, but we always used to fight. And the main reason we used to fight was because she was a psychologist. Do we have any therapists in the house? Psychologists? No. I was with her 6 years. I did not win one argument. Did not win one argument. She used to cheat in argument because she knew how the mind worked. She'd use her psychobabble. I'd make a very good point and she'd go, that's not you talking. That's your fear talking. I know what my fear sounds like. My fear sounds like, ah! It doesn't do voice impressions. That's your fear talking. And if you ever date a psychologist or a therapist, never let them find out any traumatic events which happened in your childhood. Or then they think they figured you out. Like this part isn't a joke, okay? It's a sad fact. When I was younger, I was molested. Unfortunately, it's happened to a lot of people. Now, I told her, because you open up to your partner, she started bringing it up. She'd be like, Daliso, I think you're afraid of commitment. And I think the reason you're afraid of commitment is because you were molested. I was like, do you have to bring this up at a Christmas dinner party? In front of all of my friends and my uncle. And another day, I saw her getting a little bit frisky with someone else, and I said, that's not acceptable. She said, oh, Daliso, you don't trust me. In fact, I think you don't trust anybody because you were molested. And I was like, that's nothing to do with it. Your tongue was nearly down his throat. And she said, you saw that? Well, are you sure you saw what you think you saw? Because I read in my psychology textbook that people who've been through traumatic events in their childhood, like you, in later life, you can hallucinate. So maybe you didn't see what you thought you saw. I was like, really? Well, I was reading that psychology textbook too. And I read that people who've been through traumatic events in their childhood, like me, in later life, we can flip and kill people. She said, are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? I said, that's not you talking. That's your fear talking. Thank you. That is a very strange subject for comedy, right? And people have rightly said to me sometimes, why do you talk about such a horrible thing? But from where I look at it, first of all, yes, bad things happen to me, but hey, I'm still standing. I'm here. Ha. Yeah. Also, the way I look at it, laughter is better than tears. Laughter got me through a lot of some of the most humiliating parts of it. Like, maybe this is too much disclosure, but essentially, when I was around 17, 18, I started having sex for the first time. And because of what had happened to me, sometimes if somebody touched me the wrong way or said the wrong thing, I would freak out and I'd have to stop. And because God has a crazy sense of humor, the first person who I had sex with had also had horrible things happen to her. So if I touched her the wrong way or said the wrong thing, sometimes she would freak out and she would have to stop. So for us, having sex was like playing Operation. And it was horrible, right? It was horrible, it was embarrassing, but at the same time, there was one day we just started giggling. And it made it a bit better, it didn't change anything, and I think that's why I'll always talk about everything, right? I'll try to talk about everything, because I think that's what comedy's for. It's for taking the teeth out of the monsters. We make jokes about politicians, we make jokes about, I don't know, stuff you can't change. And the complaints I get in the UK is usually when you're like if you talk about sex. That's one of the last things which people don't like it when you talk about it. And they'll come to you like, I liked the show at the beginning, but why did you ruin it with that filth? I think it's an interesting thing that we worry about filth. Because everybody's so lonely and everyone's so alone and everyone's so insecure in this country. I've never been to such an insecure place in my life. I actually felt bad because I did a joke on Britain's Got Talent someone complained about, but this was different from the people who didn't like the slavery joke. I actually understood what she was saying. Because I did a joke about how my ex-girlfriend was looking at a mirror, and this is truth, and said, "This is a fat mirror." She said that mirror made her look fatter than she really was. And I said, "Wow, I think my eyes have the same problem." Ha. Ha. Yes. Silly joke. But then, around February this year, this lady approached me and like, "Oh, you're the comedian, I love all your jokes. My family, we all love your jokes, but why did you have to fat shame in the middle?" And I felt a little bad because I started thinking about it and I was like, that wasn't what I intended. And I was like, I guess she's right, that joke is kind of a fat joke. But then I almost feel like for people to understand what I was trying to make fun of, I almost needed to take a picture of my girlfriend onto stage and show everybody. Because the thing which was absurd was this woman was stunning. She was beautiful and didn't know it. And British women are odd like this. In the bedroom, they'll say stuff like, "Turn off the lights, don't look at me." And as a man, you're thinking, "I'll see you in the morning." But of course, people are cripplingly insecure. Your media is out of control. You've got billboards with half-naked women selling toothpaste. You've got tits in the magazines. You've got tits in the newspaper. I've never been anywhere else where you can go from page 1. 200 people died today. You turn the page, "I'm Amy from Newcastle." And I'm no prude, I like tits as much as the next bloke. Maybe more. But in my limited experience, I have noticed that breasts come in different shapes and sizes. Human bodies come in different shapes and sizes. You would not know this from your publications. It's all anorexic-looking women, very suspicious-looking breasts. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, why don't we mix it up? Wouldn't it be great if you never knew what you were going to get? You pick up Zoo Loaded, you flip it open, you're like, "Ooh, I did not expect that today. We got a fat black woman." Turn the page, Oriental, lopsided tits. It is time for a change, people of Dartford. It's time for revolution. And I think I am the man to start it. I think I could be the Martin Luther King of porn. I have a wet dream, brothers. And I won't lie, men are just as insecure about their bodies, if not more insecure. Why do I say more? Because there's no support. There's no support. I've heard a woman saying to a friend, "I'm having a bad week, I feel bloated." And a friend said, "No, you look lovely, it's all in your mind, wear that dress." This support is not happening between men. I could not call a mate and be like, "Hey, Barry, I feel like I'm retaining water." Barry would laugh in my face. So men hide it. If we're losing hair, we just shave it. It's a style choice. Biggest male insecurity is the penis. You get 10 emails every day, make it bigger, make it longer, make it rotate clockwise. I've also noticed I cannot take a piss without having a clearly straight white man trying to look. Because you all want to know, is it true? For the love of God, white man, just be proud of the little things in your life, okay? And men's insecurities are based on performance anxiety because we all have to try to give women the orgasms. It's very difficult. think it's easier for women? Men are generally happy there's someone else in the room. You can poke it, jiggle it, whatever. With women, sometimes I feel I'm trying to defuse a bomb. Do I cut the red wire? I don't know. And I know I'm not the only man who's been there where Monday you found the G-spot, Tuesday it moved. And it's not just the bedroom, it's all the stuff before that. We've got to get you in the mood. We've got to turn you on. It's like a video game. It's like a video game because you can have it turned on in the club. You get in the taxi, say one wrong thing, you're back on level one. And you don't remember the combination. And this is why we try to be romantic. And it's so difficult to be romantic enough because we get our ideas of what's romantic from the books and the movies. I remember when I got to the UK, I had not watched Love Actually. Apparently, this again was a personality flaw because it plays every Christmas, and so I was met with shock and horror. And one lady said to me, "You've got to watch it. I can't believe you've not watched it. I watch it every Christmas and I cry every time." And I was like, why is this a recommendation? Who enjoys crying? It's like recommending a restaurant by saying, "Oh my God, you got to go to the restaurant that just opened up." I go every week and I shit myself every time. And I watched the Love Actually. I watched it and I enjoyed it. But I watched it like a movie. I noticed she was watching it like a documentary. Like it was a realistic portrayal of the kind of behavior to expect from me. Because she gave me a nudge. Middle of the movie, pointed at the screen. And she said, "Isn't that nice? Isn't it great? The way that he treats her. Why don't you ever treat me like that?" It's a movie. It's a fantasy. Could I bring home a porn movie? Isn't that nice? Isn't it great the way that she treats him? Why don't you ever treat me like that? With two of your friends? And even if we get you to the bedroom, things can go horribly wrong. I thought the 69 was the best position. Little give, little take. But I am a short man. 69 is tough when she's taller than you. I ended up there going, I call that the 67. And the night in my life, which was the most stressful, is the story I'm going to leave you on. Because it was absolutely out of control. It was New Year's Eve, 2014. I'll still sing Patricia. She's the fat miracle. She got a crazy idea. She said, "You know what we should do to bring in the new year? Instead of going to a party, wasting all our money, why don't we just stay in and make love?" As a man, I don't know how to say no to this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have some, okay. I should have said no. Because come December 31st, she said, "You know what would make it even better for me? Just imagine I had an orgasm at midnight with the New Year's Eve fireworks." Midnight is 1 second. It's 1 split second. I couldn't be a few seconds early, couldn't be a few seconds late. We had to put the clock next to the bed. I had to keep looking at the clock, looking at her, looking at the clock, looking at her. I thought I was doing a good job until the bastards in the next department started to shout, 10. 9. 8. I do not work well under pressure. I started hyperventilating. I was pinching and poking and they're going 6, 5, 4. And then I remembered when women are having orgasms, you look a bit like you're getting electrocuted. They do, don't they? No one warns you. You're doing your thing and suddenly she goes, oh. Don't touch me, just don't. And even when you think it's done, just the leg. So I grabbed her finger, I stuck it in the socket, I flipped the switch. She started shaking, her hair was standing on end, there was sparks coming out of her eyes, and I know I shouldn't have electrocuted her, but at least I turned her on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. And all I just wanted to say to all of you is that I've been a comedian a long time. Like 3 years before I came to the UK, then like 12, actually 13 years here. So I've been a comedian a long time in little comedy clubs, and all I ever wanted was to shoot a special. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you.